This is a small business cybersecurity guy hot take.
Right, Graham. Before we start, I need to know something. Are you using a VPN right now?
Should I be? Are we being watched?
Well, according to Ofcom, they're monitoring VPN usage across the UK using some mysterious AI tool they refuse to name. So yes, Graham, Big Brother is watching your Netflix habit.
Brilliant. Nothing says liberal democracy quite like government agencies tracking privacy tools. What's next? Monitoring who buys curtains?
You joke, but this is genuinely bonkers. TechRadar broke an exclusive story that Ofcom, the UK's communications regulator, has confirmed it is using an unnamed third-party tool to monitor VPN use following the implementation of the Online Safety Act. And when pressed for details, they basically said, "Trust us, it's all aggregated, nothing to worry about."
Let me guess. They won't tell us which tool, who provides it, what data it collects, or whether it actually works.
Spot on. They told TechRadar, and I quote, "We use a leading third-party provider, which is widely used in the industry, to gather information on VPN usage. The provider combines multiple data sources to train its models and generate usage estimates." Notice what's missing? The name. Any transparency whatsoever.
Train its models. That's AI speak for, we're hoovering up data and hoping the algorithm figures it out. As a former actor, I can recognise corporate theatre when I see it. This is the technological equivalent of the checks in the post.
Here's where it gets properly mental. Ofcom claims 1.5 million daily VPN users in the UK following the introduction of mandatory age checks on adult websites. That's their justification for all this monitoring. 1.5 million people are apparently clamouring to bypass the law.
That's a relatively specific number. Presumably, they've published the methodology, cross-referenced it with independent studies, and subjected it to peer review?
Oh, Graham, you delightful optimist. There is no official Ofcom document containing that figure. None. I've checked their website, their guidance documents, their statutory reports. The 1.5 million number appears exclusively in media reports citing Ofcom estimates. It's like citing your mate Dave as a source on quantum physics.
So they've got this magic AI tool that somehow knows 1.5 million Brits are using VPNs daily, but they can't be bothered to show they're working? Did they get this methodology from the same people who predicted Brexit polling?
The thing is, even if that number's accurate, which is questionable at best, it tells us precisely nothing. VPN detection can only identify that someone's using a VPN. It can't tell you why. Could be bypassing age checks. Could be working from home for a company with mandatory VPN policies. Could be protecting yourself on public Wi-Fi at Costa. Could be a journalist protecting sources. The technology cannot distinguish intent.
But why let technical limitations get in the way of a good surveillance programme?
James Baker from the Open Rights Group nailed it when he told TechRadar that VPN monitoring sets a concerning precedent, more often associated with repressive governments than liberal democracies. He pointed out that analytics platforms consistently show VPN use is lower in countries with greater online freedom and higher in places like China, Russia, and the UAE.
Ah yes, China. Our new role model for internet regulation. Next, we'll be implementing social credit scores and calling it enhanced digital citizenship.
Let's talk about what triggered this mess. On July 25, 2025, the Online Safety Act's child safety duties became fully enforceable. Platforms displaying adult content or harmful material had to implement what Ofcom calls highly effective age assurance. No more ticking a box saying you're 18. Now you need to upload your passport, scan your face, or verify your credit card.
Because nothing says privacy-conscious internet like handing over your biometric data to third-party age verification companies with questionable security standards.
The response was immediate and massive. Proton VPN reported a 1,400% surge in UK sign-ups within hours. NordVPN saw a 1,000% increase. VPN apps dominated the Apple UK App Store, Proton VPN beat ChatGPT to become the #1 free app.
So Ofcom creates a law that makes people deeply uncomfortable about their privacy. People respond by protecting their privacy, and Ofcom's solution is to monitor those privacy tools. It's like putting cameras in the changing rooms to make sure people aren't being indecent.
And here's the kicker for small business owners listening. This isn't just about adult content anymore. The Online Safety Act is already blocking legitimate business content. Parliamentary speeches about grooming gangs, news coverage of Gaza and Ukraine, mental health forums. Even a cycling forum shut down because they couldn't afford to comply with the regulations.
A cycling forum?
A cycling forum, because apparently discussions about gear ratios and puncture repair might corrupt the youth. The scope creep happened within days of implementation. This is the authoritarian playbook in action. Start with something everyone agrees is bad, then expand once the infrastructure exists.
Let's bring this home for our listeners. You're running a business with 15 employees. Half of them work remotely. What does this mean for you?
Right, so your remote workers are almost certainly using VPNs. Properly configured business VPNs are essential security hygiene for remote work. They encrypt traffic, protect against man-in-the-middle attacks on public Wi-Fi, secure access to company resources. But now, Ofcom's monitoring VPN usage with an unnamed AI tool, using undisclosed data sources.
Can they distinguish between your accounting manager accessing Zero through your company VPN and someone bypassing age verification?
No, the technology cannot determine intent. It can detect that a VPN is being used, but it's completely blind to whether that's legitimate business use or circumvention. And because Ofcom won't identify their monitoring tool or methodology, you can't even assess what data might be collected about your business operations.
So we've created a surveillance infrastructure that can't actually achieve its stated purpose, but creates massive privacy risks for legitimate users.
Welcome to 21st century regulation. And it gets worse. The Online Safety Act includes Section 121, nicknamed the Spy Clause. It gives Ofcom power to require platforms, including encrypted messaging services, to use accredited technology to scan for illegal content. That means client-side scanning. That means breaking end-to-end encryption.
Let me guess. The government promised they'd never actually use those powers.
Oh, they said they won't use them until the technology is technically feasible, which every cryptography expert on Earth says is impossible without fundamentally undermining encryption. Apple shelved their client-side scanning plans in 2021, explicitly stating it couldn't work without destroying privacy. Signal and WhatsApp threaten to leave the UK market entirely if Section 121 is enforced.
But the powers remain in the Act.
The powers remain in the Act. Sitting there, waiting. And once this infrastructure exists, expanding it is trivially easy. We've seen this before. Anti-terror laws morphed into tools for policing dissent. Now child safety provides cover for the same authoritarian creep. If you're a small business owner, here's your action list. First, understand that using VPNs for business purposes remains completely legal. Nothing in the Online Safety Act criminalises VPN use by individuals or businesses. The Act places duties on platforms, not users.
Though Ofcom will be monitoring your usage with their mystery AI tool.
Though Ofcom will be monitoring usage, yes. Second, maintain your VPN security protocols for remote workers. Don't let this surveillance theatre make you complacent about actual cybersecurity. Your data still needs protecting from actual threats, which are considerably more dangerous than Ofcom's pointless monitoring.
Third point?
Third, if your business operates any online platform, forum, or user-generated content, get legal advice immediately. The compliance burden is enormous, the definitions are vague, and the penalties are severe. Fines up to £18 million or 10% of label revenue. Criminal liability for senior managers.
And presumably the guidance from Ofcom is crystal clear and helpful?
About as clear as their explanation of the VPN monitoring tool. They've published hundreds of pages of guidance that essentially boils down to implement highly effective age assurance, without defining what that actually means in practice. Platforms are left guessing, which inevitably leads to overblocking legitimate content.
Because when in doubt, block everything. Can't be held liable if nobody can access anything.
Exactly, and that's already happening. The chilling effect is immediate and profound. Small platforms are shutting down rather than face the compliance nightmare. Larger platforms are geo-blocking UK users. We're effectively creating a censored internet under the guise of child protection. Here's what should terrify everyone. The UK isn't alone. 25 US states have passed similar age verification laws. The EU is debating chat control, which would mandate scanning all encrypted messages. Australia is implementing sweeping age verification requirements for search engines, potentially including Google.
So this is a coordinated international movement towards surveillance.
It's a legislative arms race, each country watching the others, copying the framework, expanding the scope, and they're all using the same justification: protecting children, which is brilliantly cynical. Because who can oppose protecting children without being painted as supporting predators?
Peter Kyle, the UK Technology Secretary, literally said critics of the Online Safety Act are on the side of predators. That's not policy debate, that's emotional blackmail designed to shut down legitimate concerns about civil liberties.
And it worked. The Act passed despite overwhelming opposition from digital rights groups, cryptography experts, tech companies, and over 550,000 people signing a petition to repeal it. The government's response? No plans to repeal. Democracy in action.
Meanwhile, actual experts are drawing direct comparisons between the UK's approach and China's Great Firewall. Graham Stewart from Checkpoint Software said the UK's VPN situation puts the country in dubious company alongside China, Russia and Iran. That should tell you everything.
Graham, let's talk practical cybersecurity for small businesses. Your threat model just got more complicated. Previously, you worried about ransomware gangs, phishing attacks, credential stuffing, the usual suspects. Now you need to factor in government surveillance of your security tools.
How does that change the calculus?
It doesn't change whether you should use VPNs. You absolutely should. But it does change your assumptions about privacy. If Ofcom is monitoring VPN usage with an AI tool using undisclosed data sources, you cannot assume that your network traffic patterns are private, even if the content remains encrypted.
So the metadata is compromised, but the data itself remains secure?
In theory, but we don't know what data sources this mysterious AI tool is accessing. Is it pulling from ISPs, App Store download data, network traffic analysis, device fingerprinting? Ofcom won't say. That's the fundamental problem with secret surveillance tools. You cannot assess the risk because you don't know what's being collected.
And I'm assuming this has implications for GDPR compliance.
Massive implications that nobody's properly addressing. If you're collecting customer data, you're responsible for protecting it under GDPR. But if a government agency is monitoring your VPN usage with undisclosed methods, how do you assess whether that creates additional data protection risks? You can't. The opacity makes compliance impossible to verify.
Right. We've established this is a privacy nightmare wrapped in child protection rhetoric. What should small business owners actually do?
First, document everything. Your VPN usage is for legitimate business purposes. Document which employees use VPNs, why, what business functions require encrypted connections. If Ofcom's monitoring ever becomes the basis for regulatory action, you need evidence of legitimate use.
Second,
stay informed. This situation is evolving rapidly. Section 121's client-side scanning provisions could be activated at any time if the government decides the technology is feasible. The EU's chat control could pass and affect your European operations. US state laws are proliferating. You need to monitor regulatory developments actively.
and third, presumably, is where you tell listeners to engage politically.
Absolutely. Over 550,000 people signed the petition to repeal the Online Safety Act. That triggered a parliamentary debate requirement. Contact your MP, make clear that surveillance of privacy tools is unacceptable in a democracy. The only reason governments get away with this is public apathy.
Though Peter Kyle will call you a predator for opposing it.
Let him. That kind of rhetoric is transparently manipulative. Anyone with functioning critical thinking can see through it. The question is whether enough people care to push back before this becomes normalised. Here's what we know for certain. Ofcom is using an unnamed AI tool to monitor VPN usage in the UK. They refuse to identify the tool, the methodology, or the data sources. They claim 1.5 million daily VPN users, with no verifiable source for that figure. VPN detection technology cannot determine whether use is legitimate or circumvention. The infrastructure created for child safety is already being used to block political content, news coverage, and legitimate forums.
And the UK's approach is being copied internationally, while experts draw direct comparisons to authoritarian regimes.
That's your dystopian reality for November 2025. A liberal democracy monitoring privacy tools with secret AI surveillance while claiming it's protecting children. George Orwell is looking at this thinking, bit on the nose, isn't it?
For small business owners, the message is clear. Maintain your security practices. Document your legitimate VPN use. Stay informed about regulatory changes, and for goodness sake, engage politically before this gets worse.
Because it will get worse. Scope creep is inevitable once surveillance infrastructure exists. Today, it's monitoring VPN usage for age verification. Tomorrow, it's scanning encrypted messages for harmful content. Next year, it's pre-crime detection based on browsing patterns.
That's paranoid speculation.
Is it? Section 121 already gives Ofcom power to mandate scanning of encrypted communications. The only thing stopping it is political will, which can change overnight. The infrastructure is being built right now. So there we are. Ofcom's playing spy games with technology that can't achieve its stated goals while creating massive privacy risks for everyone. Business as usual in 2025 Britain.
If you found this episode useful, and by useful, I mean terrifying, share it with other small business owners who need to understand what's happening. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a review if you're feeling generous. Visit our blog at thesmallbusinesscybersecurityguy.co.uk for the full breakdown with sources and analysis.
And if you've got questions about VPN security for your business or concerns about regulatory compliance, drop us a comment. We read them all. Well, Graham reads them all. I just point at things and yell about government overreach.
It's a system that works. Right, I'm off to check whether Ofcom's AI has flagged this conversation as suspicious.
If we disappear, tell them we died doing what we loved, being incredibly sarcastic about terrible policy decisions.
Until next time, stay secure, stay skeptical, and for the love of all that's holy, keep using your VPNs.
Cheers.